Welcome everyone back to the channel. I'm PommyInOz, and you could argue this is the biggest game of the year for both clubs. For Adelaide, the early season momentum has wobbled. They've lost 3 of the last 4 and haven't kicked a big score in the last couple of weeks. The AFL's most dangerous forward line with its injuries has been misfiring, but they're back at Adelaide where they feel confident against the Blues especially. For Carlton, this is a moment they prove that they're more than flat-track bullies. 3 straight wins, a big demolition of Geelong Cats. It has the lid rattling again. But the Blues haven't beaten a top 8 side on the road for what feels like an eternity. Win here and they send a clear message. The pressure points are there and Adelaide Oval is the aim for the Blues. Let's buckle up and get into this preview. So when we look at the tail of the tape then, Adelaide, they're 5th with a 4-3 record. Carlton, they are 12th with a 3-4 record. And Adelaide, one of the top scoring teams this year, averaging 102.7 points per game versus the Blues, who have got a humble 88.3 sitting 10th. The points conceded is a really interesting stat. 82.7 by Adelaide, 7th versus Blues, 72.1 sees them sit 3rd. This is where it gets interesting. Shots at goal generated per inside 50. You're looking at the second best side in Adelaide. 52.6 of their inside 50s result in a shot at the sticks, where Blues are 43%, bottom in the league. Turnover scores, you're looking at the number 1 turnover scoring side in the AFL in Adelaide, 65.6 versus 46.7 points by the Blues. Scores from stoppages, you're looking at mid-table from the Adelaide Crows, 32.6, sitting 12th. The Blues, 37.3, sitting 7th. The contested possession differential is a really interesting one. 3.96 for Adelaide, plus 16, just under for the Blues. First, they get a lot of contested ball. The disposal efficiency, always worth looking at. 12 for Adelaide, 72.1%. And the Blues, because of their high contested possession differential, the worst using side in the comp. Adelaide's are the kings of turnover and multiply that with a very strong uncontested brand. The Blues are very grunty. They like their field control. They like their pressure. And that is a big thing for the Blues. Get that field territory, put the pressure in around the ball. They're quite comfortable in the dirty stuff. Adelaide, they like to get that ball going quickly, moving quickly. This is an imposing style battle. And it's going to be interesting which 2 sides live to tell the tale. Let's see the key matchups. George Hewett versus Jordan Dawson. You've got control here versus creativity. George Hewett, 30.1 disposals this year, 8.3 first possessions from a stoppage in the league. That has him top 10 in the AFL as midfielders, and he's ranked pretty much top 10 for all midfield metrics. Jordan Dawson, 25.6 touches, a staggering 7.7 inside 50s per game, but only 58% disposal efficiency. George Hewett wins it at the coal's face. Dawson is the distributor. Everything goes through him. This isn't a tag job in terms of matchup. This is about who sets the tone. Is it George Hewett with the grunt and getting that first use and getting the Blues going? Or is it they get the ball out to Jordan Dawson, and if he's got some time and space, he can slice Carlton open. This is where you've got to shut him down. You want to stop the tap at its very source. So George Hewett's going to have an incredible battle here of making sure Berry and co don't get the ball out to Dawson on the outside. Cerra and Walsh versus Keane and Sam Berry. This is spread versus spark. Combining Walsh and Cerra for 54 touches and a staggering 46.3 of the score involvements for their team. They're a real incredible duopoly in that midfield. We've seen Hewett and Cripps be them big guys, but Cerra's been getting a lot of inside minutes. What that means is Hewett is looking to give it to Cerra, and Cerra is looking to find Walsh and get Carlton going. These two are incredibly important, where on the flip side, Keane adds that burst from stoppage and clearance, and Berry will work hard in this game between the arcs. We know both of these players can hit the scoreboard, particularly Sam Berry. Sam Berry definitely comes into this side to add a little bit of polish over Matt Crouch. I think Matt Crouch and Riley O'Brien do hold their midfield back somewhat. So seeing Sam Berry there, who's a little bit more direct, a little bit more physical, means that they're going to try and match up with Carlton. This is where the game will be won. Rankings, Flair, Walsh's run versus Chera and Berry. Berry's pressure, Chera's polish. The team that can get the ball on the outside and dictate the tempo will presumably win this game. If you can stop Rankine, you stop the highlight reel. If you can stop Berry, you stop the muscle. That is a big battleground for the Blues, because if whoever gets the ascendancy in these two can definitely change the game quite happily. Curnow and Harry McKay versus Keane and Jordan Butts. The aerial battle. Curnow has 13 goals this season, and since McKay's return for personal reasons and concussion, has ranked top 5 for contested marks, top 5 for marks taken per minutes played. Keane and Butt, they're strong in the contest, but very inexperienced as a duo. Carlton love having that contested mark. This is a real big facet of their game. Harry and Charlie did build some form last week. This can be a nightmare for Adelaide, and they'll need intercept help from Max and co to really help them do it. Carlton's twin towers here, if they get rolling, it's going to be a real long afternoon, and it's integral that Harry McKay stays deep and then Charlie Curnow works up the ground, creating that separation and forcing Keane and Butts to always have something to do. This is an intriguing battle here because I think they're incredibly weak down back without Nick Murray, who I think is really underrated in the league. And the next one is Mac Michelani versus Lockie Fogarty. Top 4 is Lockie Fogarty in inside 50s and blanketed Tom Stewart in portions last week, where Big Maxi is one of the top rebounders in this side. He tackles. He also brings in the massive transitions. He is a real good intercept mark. And I feel like everyone kind of underrates him when you look at that back line. You instantly look at Milwera, you look at Blair, players like that. But this guy is a touch of class. With no Mitch Hinge there, they've got to look at someone to jettison them from half back to the midfield. And this matchup for me will go under the radar because it's massive. If Max gets his rebound game going, Carlton are in trouble. Fast breaks galore. Carlton will want to look to trap this ball in there. This one won't get the headlines, but I can guarantee you I feel like it's a game-defining matchup. Let's go into the deep dive of the tactical styles. We know Carlton. Territory, clearance, repeat. Territory, clearance, repeat. Win the ball, get it forward, lock it in. And the starter matches it up. Number 1 in contested possession differential, top 5 in stoppage score differential, 2nd in tackles inside 50. Carlton play a very percentage footy for their list. It's grunt heavy, it's high pressure, and it's built to force mistakes. Their issue is converting these chances, and it's why it's so poignant that with Carlton's last 3 weeks having an increase in the forward half pressure, it works. They rank last for generating a shot per inside 50, 17 for scoring efficiency, and 16 for goals per inside 50. They dominate territory, but at times they can butcher their own finishing work. The forward structure is incredibly strong, particularly with Elijah Hollands back there. It changes the angle, and Matt Carroll working overtime as an overlap, but they do rely on chaos ball. The big fixes here for Carlton are using Chera's foot skills, trying to get that 45 degree, not a dump kick, using Elijah to try and get that connector, and then Walsh being that massive conduit between midfield and forward. And it's something we've seen in the last 3 weeks. Walsh isn't the clearance mule anymore. He's been given a more dynamic passage of play. And the big important thing for the Blues is clearing space for Curnow and McKay. No free tall collisions, no spacking into space. This is a real big important battle here because then it plays Durden, who is the number 1 tackle inside 50 player in the league, to work in them spaces that them two create. Adelaide, transition assassins, turnover kings. They win it, they go fast, they use their skills. First in scores from turnover, first from defensive half scores, top 2 in shot quality. The Crows want you to press, and this is a fascinating battle. They want you to come into them. They launch through Dawson, Milwera, usually Hinge, who's not there, and then bang, Rochelle, Walker, Rankine, they're off at the races. When they're denied corridor access, they struggle to grind games out. Their clearance games ranks bottom 6, and they're susceptible to being outmuscled. They rely heavily on this ball use, and they struggle in these high-pressure conditions. Low contested ball wins under pressure. This is where the Blues have got to really focus, and this is where Adelaide want to get the game on their terms. They're a real metronome side. In the last couple of weeks, we've seen when that ball slows down, it does expose their lack of physicality at times. Carlton versus Adelaide in this arena. Shots at goal, we said 18 for the Blues, 43%. second for Adelaide, 52.6%. Turnover scores, 46.7, ninth for the Blues, number 1 for Adelaide, 65.6. Goals per inside 50, 16th, 21.2% for the Blues versus 28.4 for Adelaide, number 1. And goal kicking accuracy, this is where it kills you with Carlton, 49.4% when they do have a shot, 8th, 54%. Adelaide are deadly with fewer chances. Carlton need to create more chances. When you're sitting in under 3 entries for a goal, worse, that's a problem. This is where the Blues have got to try and be a bit more maybe trigger happy, but also look to get that scoreboard pressure. It's all well and good doing this when you're 20, 30 points ahead. There will be times where you need to convert at 40%. And this is what the great teams do. This is what Collingwood have done really well recently. When they are behind the 8 ball, they stay in the games for longer, allowing their pressure game to be used in sporadically. Carlton can't let Adelaide use their hands in between the arcs. They can't let that forward pressure. Adelaide like to let you come onto them, and then they just handball their way around, short kicks, bang, go away. Carlton have got to use repeat stoppages, try and slow the tempo, make it ugly. And the players to watch for this are George Hewett, clearance beast. And like we said, they just under 9 first ball in them stoppages. Really important for Carlton to get that dictation of play in the middle, in the battleground. Adam Cherry, he's got to get on that front foot. He's got to be able to use it. He's gone at a high 80% over the last 3 weeks. He's going to be really pulling the strings. And then with Mitch McGovern suspected to take Fogarty, Tex Walker and Thilthorpe undone by Young and Wheater, Nick Haynes has a job here to play loose and really be the transition general. We saw that last week with the intercept marks. He's going to have a lot of opportunities here because they do like to float it in that mid-hot zone. And McKay and Curnow, they combine for massive marks. They really enjoy playing these two teams. These are going to be a key battleground. They need to make sure that they go at some good goal efficiency. For Adelaide, Jordan Dawson, for me, he's the king of their ball movement. In the last couple of weeks, he's been really off the radar. He's got some attention. He's got to be looking at them switches, them intercept shark possessions that he gets, and trying to get them going forward. Isaac Rankine, this guy can lose or win a game in 10 minutes. He's that good. He's so dangerous around stoppage, and Carlton don't have a natural matchup in and around stoppage for him. Tex Walker, for me, still the alpha in that forward 50, particularly when they've had no Fogarty and Thilthorpe went off last week. This is going to be integral now he's got his 2 boys back, that he can work up the ground really high. Bit like Jeremy Cameron did last week. Carlton had a real good plan, having Jesus on him for parts and then Wheater going up the ground with him. This is really imperative again that the Blues have got to look at this because they're going to have to switch that round a bit where Wheater will probably get Tex. This causes havoc in your forward zone, so this is going to be a real key element for them that they want in making them 65 leads on an angle. And then Big Maxi, we talked about him. The matchup with Fogarty, I feel like, decides the territory battle. Do Carlton win it or can they counter-press from it? This is going to be a real tough game. I'm going to go with Carlton by 7 points and George Hewett having the best on ground. I feel like Curnow and McKay are going to combine for 8+. And we're going to go big here. Fogarty to have 6 or more inside 50 tackles. This is really the type of game that historically Carlton you lose. Go into Adelaide, few injuries, big stadium, big moment, big opponent. And for years, we've always wondered what the belief would turn into reality. Not this time. I feel like this is the day that the Blues can really get a big win in Adelaide, win dirty, and win when it matters. This is finals level pressure, and the Blues are built for that. Adelaide will bring the fire, and they must want to win. This is going to be a real test of their structure and their steel. This is going to be huge 4 points for both sides because both sides will be desperate for the win for different reasons. Let me know what you think of it. See you soon. Make sure you hit that like, subscribe, and turn that notification bell on. Until next time, Pom out. Spent all my life holding all of it.